Okay.
Yes.
I do. You ready?
Ready.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon. Thank you everybody for joining the regularly unregularly scheduled meeting of the Course of Redevelopment and Housing Authority, which meets normally the third Thursday of the month at 5:30 at the offices over on South Street, but we had it's scheduled to have this last week here at Seaboard. We're having it this week here at Seaboard. All members of the public are welcome to attend virtually. I'm excited to be back here at Seaboard. The last time I was in here for any kind of function, we had Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax here. He's here to join some of the kids that were doing some crafts and activities here. So it was a good time, and this, I think the building showed up very well. The staff did a fantastic job. So at least we're going to do the roll call.
Commissioner Barrow, Commissioner Fox, Commissioner Pickens,
Here.
Commissioner Prince, Commissioner Witt, here, Vice Chair Devitt, Chair Lamont.
Yes, here. You have in front of you the minutes from the last meeting, December 16th. I'll take a motion for approval or corrections.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion second?
A second.
All right. Please.
Commissioner Fox, Commissioner Pickens.
Yeah.
Commissioner Witt,
Yes.
Vice Chair Devitt, Chair Lamont.
Yes, yes. I want to welcome Councilman Bennett. Thank you very much for being here. We're going to have you speak just about 3 seconds here, sir. All right, thank you. But thank you for being here. We really enjoyed you being here and helping us out. Three things. We're off to a new 2022, right? I think we had a very, very successful focused 2021, and we talked a lot about the successes that we've had. So I appreciate all the support that the commissioner has given us and staff. Again, your support has been absolutely amazing. We're going to be talking in a few moments about the budget. Shannon's going to present the budget for 2022. I think again, we're going to have to really make sure we close to $1 dollars as we have had the last couple of years. For security, which I'm going to, after the money, security still remains a topic. We have fully implemented cameras. Cameras are now fully up at Dale, Lexington, Phoebus, Seaboard, and Swanson are fully up around in all those facilities. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good. Okay. Good. So we'll have 24 hour surveillance at each one of the facilities. Councilman Battle, I'll just divert here for a second. We had met with the city manager, and you had met with us, the city manager, several times about our need for security cameras, and we've gone ahead and paid and funded it. And we're still looking for the city to provide that portion that they said they're going to reimburse. We haven't seen those funds. We've got, as far as meetings go, Mr. Bland and Ms. Winston have arranged for this board to tentatively, these commissioners tentatively meet with the EDA board members on the 15th of March, I think that's at 3 o'clock, around 3 o'clock. 10 o'clock, okay, 10 o'clock, I'm sorry. About 10 o'clock, so y'all can kind of look at your calendar. I think it'd be nice to have that interactive dialogue between ourselves and the EDA, what we can do for the economic and housing efforts in the city. Mr. Bland and I have attended a couple of partnership meetings. Very good for us. Those are the business people of the city trying to do great things for the businesses here. And Mr. Bland and I have been vocal members of supporting what the city wants to do and let them know what we're doing about housing. I want to remind all the commissioners about the upcoming conferences that are coming up in 2022. To make sure that, and I know Delise will probably send out an email to remind y'all about those that you might want to be able to attend in 2022. I've got some other financial news. We sold during 2021 2021, which I myself, this list of 8 properties. We sold 8 properties. If y'all have been with me as long as I have, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we were sitting on 161 properties that had been that we had in our stables for quite a few years. Ms. Winston, Mr. Bland, Philip have been aggressively paring that number down. I think we're down to the low double digits right now as far as property that is not generating some sort of revenue. 2021, we sold 8 properties at $252,000. We sold properties. We turned back to the city $142,000. We gave back to the city $142,000 of that money that we made. So we're committed to making sure we got property moving, get property back on the tax rolls, but also reimbursing the city for those investments that they made in us years ago. So I appreciate that. I know Mr. Bland is still working with the city manager, trying to set up a joint meeting between the city council and our board. Rather just remind you, and we're still looking for some sort of push on that to see if we can talk to the council as a body. Okay. With that, again, I just want to say thank you again to the commissioners for a successful 2021, and we're looking for a fantastic 2022. Councilman Battle, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, I think a lot of people think somebody goes more. I was born in Mount Herman, across the street. I used to work with Fortune development in the house. I worked with the police department, the sheriff's department, the recreation department, general services, the other department, know an awful lot about each of those departments. I did what was called the main portion for the homesteads in Southern Virginia. For the redevelopment, the way we ended down the street and down here, I had to have this self-sufficient portion, which was one of the most important portions to that grant. They used the same model, they could talk. I put together the matching funding for the problems of the grant. I produced $1.1 million worth of in-kind services for the vehicles of the grant. I've been in business for myself before. I have heard of how long time. At the onset, I got inside and worked with him for 30 years before the time. Cattle and ran that little beach where I had Valley Burner and Pastor Wiggins and a few other pastors as coaches. No one in this area has done more beach development or been involved with more beach development than I have. No one has given more of its own money to the citizens of this city than I have. I've been on council for 3 years. No other group has done as much economic development as we've done since I've been on council. We've done $2+ billion worth of business. The last year we've done $1.4 billion worth of business. In other words, I can work with any part of any organization and be effective. I'm unconcerned with the Constitution. By that means, can't get the credit. This is for the advancement of mankind. That's all I'm about. Now that I've explained myself and given you some of my positives and my history, I've always had a clean record. I'm a family man. Doesn't matter, little league, football, basketball, tutoring. They'll fill off $2 million from the city in the last budget for the church provided program for South Side and the areas where they have kids that may go astray or possibly starting to go astray. We do that program Monday through Friday, 2 days, tutoring Friday, decided that we're going to different places, DC, things like that. This is what I mean. I don't want no money. I don't want no love. I'm not out here for all of that. I'm out here because it means something to me that everybody has a wonderful quality of life. That's what I am. That's what I've been. That's what I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. You have in front of you the recommended budget that's coming from Mr. Bland and Ms. Sterling for 2022. And I'll just give highlights and then I'll turn it over to Shannon. It's basically, again, this is for operating. So it represents the subsidies from Zick and HUD, in addition to the anticipated expenses that we expect to have for the properties. If you take the first half, which is the public housing side, we're forced to make sure that whatever revenues we have come in match the expenses that we have. So in a perfect world, in this, when you do budgeting, you try to do a perfect world as possible you can. The numbers will match. Everybody got tab 3? Tab 3. Good. So the numbers on the left-hand side is public housing. We have a little bit of anomaly because of Swanson, right? So we're showing a profit of a little over $300,000 for public housing in Swanson. But just kind of keep in mind, the monies that have to be spent on public housing can only be spent on public housing. It can't be used for any other funds. So you've got a little bit of anomaly this year with Swanson. On the other side, it represents all the other properties that we have, which kind of are the public-private partnerships that we have, right? And also the housing choice voucher program that we have. You'll see that we've got a bit of a challenge there with the COCC, which is the office itself, the admin office itself. We're showing a deficit, and Mr. Bland, of course, will, as the year comes on, is going to have to kind of address the deficit. While we show at the very bottom right an overall profit of $274,000 for net income, I want you to kind of turn that aside because the reason why it's making it profitable is because of the public housing money. As I said, you can't have public housing money support non-public housing. So in actuality, we're showing a profit of $370,000 on the public housing side, but actually a deficit of about $120,000 on the non-public housing. So, Shannon, with that, is there any other detail you want to give?
No, we just asked the two group for the calendar year 2022. The public housing subsidy, I will have to file with HUD from March and April. So whatever, these numbers could possibly change for the subsidy. They do have a proration factor right now of like 94%, but they will make, what they do is, like the first couple months, they base it off of the last 2 months of the prior year. And so it may be really, really low. And then come April and May, whenever they finalize everything, they will give us access on our website to be able to pay down extra funds to take care of the short-term quality. As Commissioner Wande mentioned on the COCC, usually we try to have the COCC and the business activities can kind of balance each other, but right now we're basically looking at the Swanson demolition or the property because we're trying to move as many people out as possible. So that means that there's less funds coming into, less revenue coming into cover for our expenses. So it's going to be up to the agency to try to figure out other ways of making up for that revenue, lost revenue.
The budget also includes a 3% pay raise for all the employees. We're factoring that in now. This will be the second year that we've been able to offer a pay raise to employees. For those figures who weren't with us before, we went through about a 4 or 5 year period where we offered no pay raise. In addition, we really didn't offer any bonuses or incentives basically during that time. So again, I just want to compliment Shannon and her financial skills, and again, the measures that we've had for the oversight that we're now able to provide pay raises and pay raises for the employees, let alone be able to budget it in. This budget again is just routine operating expenses. Pickens and I, when we met with Shannon, we challenged her about are we anticipating any unusual things to come up and grab us. Seaboard is an example of that. We had, as y'all know, the last meeting we had, the additional work we had to do to the balconies. All right. So again, in a perfect world, we're not anticipating it. But we do have some money in, we do have some cash reserves. As far as routine budget, this is the budget that we're going. Any questions for Shannon?
I'm concerned that, around time, something in my part, I do not get the money. We sent out, I got a sheet for the budget should have been, but I didn't get the budget.
No, this is what he said.
I didn't get it. So it could have been a malfunction for the account for myself, but I didn't want to get that. Always, turning on the budget, if I know the budget, I know very well. Had a pressure, even on the numbers for it.
Please check that for sure, make sure it was set.
Well, I mean, I remember they have to put it out.
Well, we're going to try to see what you can get electronic. Did anyone get everybody else? Was it sent to everybody?
Please.
Was it sent to everybody? Yes, okay. You can just verify it, it's email it. Pretty things, do you have anything you want to comment on first?
No, you touched on it all.
Thank you.
That's the same sign.
Like, you handling the development side or just that?
Box staff nothing yet, there's everything of people where and what were, and, didn't have a meeting to discuss the student housing that's getting to in the park. Preparing no problem with that, and, hopefully get approval through the board in February. Everything else can go through.
Okay. Comment cover it when you got it. Coming up and part of the agenda, vote on those. I thought the agenda is something in the. Oh, yes, okay, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right, I'm sorry. Elise, that's why you're here. All right, I need to backtrack just for a second. On the budget that we went over, we have a resolution that I need to read. And then, behind the troops. In your package, tab 3, there's a resolution adopting the consolidated asset management project-based operating budget for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. Whereas the Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority operated 6 asset management properties that have 2,636 units of assisted living under the annual contributions contract fee 5515, whereas under provision of HUD's transition to asset-based management of properties, all public housing are required by statute. Prepare and present an asset management-based operating budget, and whereas the tax budget was prepared using data to support the budget at property level. And now therefore be it resolved that the consolidated asset project operating budget provision for the fiscal year ending 2022 is adopted. So I need a motion.
Commissioner Prince makes the motion for resolution 2022-1.
Thank you. Second. Thank you, Commissioner Wicks. Please.
Commissioner Cox? Yes. Commissioner Pickens?
Yes.
Commissioner Prince?
Yes.
Commissioner Mix?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gigi?
I have to explain, because I did not know.
Chair DeFont?
Yes. Sean, you got HR? You doing HR?
Again, we got the opportunity to meet, pretty productive meeting. We're down to about the last quarter of the HR pamphlet. we're supposed to meet last week, but snow hampered that, and then today we're supposed to meet, so this hampered that. So we're looking at, potentially March or April to submit, the first go around for the HR. But, we're moving forward.
Thank you. Housing,
Yeah, I'm gonna ask if you don't mind if you. Sure. As reported last month, the Housing Choice Voucher Program is continuing to work with our mainstream family unification and emergency housing voucher holders in their search for housing. 3 of the emergency housing voucher recipients have found housing and are in the process of leasing. We are continuing to update household and income information for voucher issuance to the Swanson residents that have selected to receive a tenant protection voucher for relocation. The housing department is continuing to assist the residents with their delinquent rental accounts through the Virginia Rental Relief Program. Go to go, and payments are being received on the residents' behalf. On behalf of the Housing Choice Voucher Program and the Housing Department, the Housing Committee will continue to update the board on a monthly basis and advise of any activities. Concludes the housing.
Carol, Bell, was there anything you guys want to comment? Okay. Thank you, and the 1,900 vouchers that you're supporting the city, thank you very much. Val, the 1,200 families that you're supporting, public health, thank you very much. So we've got close to 3,200 families that we're supporting here. That's a good number, that's a great number, so thank you very much. As far as governance goes, while we didn't have a meeting, just to come up with a couple issues, Mr. Bland handed out some bios that he's trying to do for each one of the commissioners, and that's required for what?
Commissioners, it's not required. The Federal Home Loan Bank, as a part of a grant that we had applied for before and would like to apply for again, had asked for updated bios. And all we have, of course, is the applications that you initially made.
Yes, sir.
So we just wanted to give an opportunity for you to give us your bios so we can have that.
Thank you. And again, I just remind the commissioners about the conferences coming up. And again, looking at certifications as a commissioner, they've got some pretty exciting places to go to, right? It's kind of a way to meet some new things that are going on in the community. Just kind of as an aside, my hat, I'm the president and executive director for a housing nonprofit on the peninsula. We've been approached by a developer on the peninsula who wants to give us some container homes. I just got to find a place to put them. I think it's pretty neat where they're taking these 20 and 40 foot containers and it costs like about $60,000 required for the units. But so we're making, I think it's going to be unusual. I like to see what they do with these tiny homes and these containers. When you don't have a lot of land, at least it's a good way to put people in houses that with some infrastructure that's just laying around. So and again, it's a good way to get to know that kind of stuff that's happening in the community.
On my hobby is going on YouTube, all the different family houses that have been involved. And it's very, it's very beautiful, it's beautiful. And it's absolutely, amazing. I'm not just getting lost and looking at these very that they heard and something that come on.
With Commissioner Wicks and I made, a couple of years ago, we went to Arizona. We were presented with a bunch of townhomes. I think we brought that up here to try to pursue something like that in areas like along where the Oasis is.
Sure.
So it would be something that I'm hoping in the future that you or we look into.
Sure. Thanks very much. Right, Ms. Blank, your nickel, sir.
Commissioner, I get the handout, we got some flyers, for security cameras. What we're trying to do is that in particular security cameras in our various communities, those are the flyers that will make sure that all of the residents receive. make them aware that we have security cameras in place. I think we have passed it out in Dale Home, so forth, Bronson, and Stevens, I believe. We had that. So you have, Lexington, and then once you get the camera from your Lexington, we will make sure each resident get a flyer, so that they will be aware of that, and let the next, let the children know, that let the visitors know, and hope that this will also help to block down some of the negative activity that's taking place in the community. The other thing is, we have a letter from, the state reference to, the auditor here in Dale. It was, excellent audit, Val, you want to talk about that a little bit?
It's on from Virginia Housing. So every 3 years, when the tax credit, we get audited with our files and then they come out. So they'll, they'll do at their, combined audit. It was very good. Thank you, Mr. Banks.
So you can say all those pandemics going on, we continue to do what we need to do. The stakeholders, which is stakeholder work, which is state of Virginia as well as federal government. But those are our two main stakeholders. Although we'll pull the many different directions, but just want to remind the board that our true obligation is the two stakeholders. Actually, is that it's part in the state of Virginia for our tax credit property. We got to make sure we're meeting all of those, all of their compliance needs. Not that we may not have time to do other stuff, but we got to make sure our priorities, make sure, first of all, we're taking care of our community stakeholders. Housing urban development, as well as taking the tax credit funds. And with that, that's all I have. Oh, the other thing too with the in case we get quite a bit of snow this weekend, depending on what the city may do, we'll follow their lead. I think we'll be shut down in the day next week, depending on what snow comes in, and we'll follow the thing. And all,
Did we have any issues? The last weekend, was there any power outages or anything that were wrong?
and the last thing I want to wish all the commissioners happy Valentine's Day.
You're a sweetheart. Thanks, Dr. Rose. You're a sweetheart, Mr. Bland. You're a sweetheart. Could you talk just for a minute about where we are with the staffing of security?
Okay, we have four security folks, and we have one that might be more full-time, then we have three with some temporary as needed, and they provide security in the various communities. In fact, we just brought on one additional person today, there's a day of home that has a security certification that we working with the folks that we already have in place. So we feel bring this person on will add value to that particular community. And so, and I will say that, you know, when the weather's very cold, time go down on its own. But when it's cold, folks like to stay inside. They're not hanging outside. So maybe it's good that we have some cold weather, or to keep things down, not only in our practice, but as we look even within the city and on the national level, cold, everything go down. But we feel that we, between the cameras and the personnel that we have, that we'll be able to monitor things and not to be able to solve everything, but we'll be able to be on top of more issues.
Sure. Anything else to say? All right, guess we're gonna go into closed session.
All business,
I'm sorry, sir.
or unfinished business?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to mention, only because I brought it up last time, that we had not, completed, it's been a while, for the CEO performance matrix. So I would like to, formally ask for a commission of maybe three, to be set up so that we can, solidify that, get it to the board, see what they say, and then do this properly, because we haven't been doing that.
Who's who else was you on HR?
The key,
Yeah, so you're asking for one more?
no, I'm just saying, I was saying for HR. This can fall under HR if you want to ask the board. But I think we need to move forward on this, get it done, because we haven't, and it's been a couple of years since we.
Why don't we look as far as HR wants to bring it to us next meeting? Okay? Send it out?
Well, you got, Mr. Blaine could be involved in that.
Oh, this is to do the actual
For the
review.
CEO meeting, we've never finished the meeting.
Okay. We're gonna have to bring it as part of the closed session the next time.
Well, I'm asking for an official board or commission committee for this in particular. So we're already on HR, one more person could volunteer, then we can do that, in conjunction with HR, maybe bring it to the board. But we've never finished it, it needs to be finished.
The only thing, we have board members have three, that's considered an official
You gotta do a meeting, so it can only be two.
We can only
Well, you're comfortable, if you guys are comfortable with, should I delegate and
Bring it to
bring
us.
it to the board, and you guys can,
Certainly. That'd be fine.
do we need to do a vote on that?
Don't think so. Again, we just bring it as part of the closed session
I'll
next
set a
time.
meeting on this.
Okay, all right. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Right. So what I have here to release is resolution 2202. Right? You don't want to close session?
Yes.
But the agenda I had, said closed session item is going to be development. The this one here is not development. That I have here in my package. Item two. We're going to close session. I want to make sure I got the right closed session. I only see one. Okay, have this one. Where's the second?
So let's do it.
Say again? Oh, I'm sorry, it's the same one, okay. All right, we're, resolution of intent to, meet in closed meeting. Whereas the Virginia Freedom of Information Act provides that the board of commissioners can meet in a closed meeting for personnel matters as set forth in section 2.2371, the Code of Virginia is amended. The personnel matters are the consideration of prospective candidates for the position of security program and risk management officer, occupancy assistant, section 8, assistant director and chief financial officer. And whereas the Freedom of Information Act provides that the board of commissioners can meet in a closed meeting for the discussion of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body is set forth in the same section, section 2.23711 of the Code of Virginia is amended. The matters for discussion are the disposition of real property located in Old Town, Bakery Crossing, and the acquisition of real property located in Circle. Therefore, be it resolved that in compliance with the Virginia Board of Information Act and the above referenced sections of Virginia Code, the Board of Commissioners shall reconvene in a closed meeting on January 27th, 2022 for the discussion of a personnel matter pursuant to Virginia Code 2.23711 and discussion of the disposition of real property pursuant to Virginia Code section 2.2, same code 3711. Ready to vote? For a motion? Motion, Ms. Cost, thank you. Second? Yes, thank you, Mr. Prince. Mr. Prince, okay. Delise?
Commissioner Cox? Yes. Commissioner Pickens?
Yes.
Commissioner Prince?
Yes.
Commissioner Hicks? Yes. Vice Chair Duty? Yes. Chair Lombardi?
Yes. Council Bell, you can join us. Sure, also, whether you want to be, but you're invited to attend. Right? Wait. Then we'll circle back again, and we're going offline. Okay, good.